I'm back at Woodside Cutoff. That's the road to Corvallis. And the last time we were here was in April, 3 months ago. I've been busy since then. Gone lots of places, but haven't gone here. And some of that is due to the heat, of course, that we've had. But today that heat is lifted enough that I'm going to go a little bit further this way, and we'll find out exactly where. So I've stopped for a moment by Sheafman Creek Road and Sheafman Corner and this park and ride because I want to look this way. That's back towards Hamilton. So after the last thunderstorms on Wednesday night and into Thursday, a new fire did start, and it's about 20 miles west of Hamilton, and it's way out in the wilderness. And even though it's pretty big, 7,500 acres or 10 square miles, it's not actually even being contained or fought at all because it's so far in the wilderness they can't get to it, and it's not a threat to property or lives. But it is creating a lot of smoke, and the air quality today, I actually checked, is unsafe for sensitive groups, but still healthy enough to do activities in, kind of. Not an ideal day, but it's going to be smoky for a while, and I want to get out. So that's why I'm out today, even on a smoky day, and the smoke does block some of the heat. So we've reached our destination, more or less, Tucker Crossing. The only thing is I need to cross this highway, which actually I have it clear now, so I'm going to go. I actually didn't have it clear and had to stop and wait. As you can see, this is a wide highway, and obviously the people here are not expecting pedestrians or even cars, so a little bit nervous about that, and I'll say more about that in a minute. But for now, I'm going to go down to Tucker Crossing. The wind's picking up. That can be dangerous when there's fire going on. You can see a helicopter up there, and that might actually be dropping retardant, or that could be spotting, but I'm assuming that's something fire control related. Back to Tucker Crossing, we have an outhouse, we have a gravel parking lot, we have one concrete space, then we have this here, and I don't know if this is an official boat launch or not, and then we just have some water access, and that's what I'm here for. I'm going to lock up my bike, and then I'm going to go see some water. So this is the Bitterroot River. So this is roughly like Blodgett Park. And one thing like Blodgett Park is if you look at the Bitterroot River here and then you look at the other shore, that's an actual island. So the stream is braided here, which is why it's so small. Well, I mean, that's an island, and then on the other side, what looks like is not an island is also an island, if that makes sense. Even with that, the water is pretty low this year, as I said earlier. So this is the river. This is just river access, and it's like any river access is good river access to me. So nothing especially spectacular here, but there's no point of the Bitterroot River that I don't like, more or less. So after just a couple hundred more feet, looks like the easy beachside, cobbly beach is ending. And as long as I'm below the high water mark, this is all just public and I could continue, but it looks like the easily walkable place is ending. So for now, I'm just going to turn around, go back that way, see what's that way. I'm back here near the parking lot, and it seems to go further. I have to jump over this little dam here, and I might be able to make it out to that island. Let's find out. I did get my feet a little bit wet making the jump, and there was actually an easier way over there. Then I went over here, that worked. Now I'm on the island. I'm just going to walk around for a while. One thing that I'm curious about, this is called Tucker Crossing, and I know up ahead a couple miles there's Victor Crossing near Victor, and there's actually a bridge there. Here, as far as I can tell, you can't cross without getting your feet wet. And in the past, maybe there was a bridge here, there might have even been a ferry, or it was just a fordable place early on in the valley's history, and it just kept the name Tucker Crossing. I mentioned this in the first video I made on the Bitterroot, way back in March, I believe, and it's true, and you'll see it so much. Look at how rocky this beach is and compare that to a beach in Oregon or in the Pacific Northwest. And I think there's two reasons for that. One is that because the growing season here is shorter, there's a lot of times they're too cold or too hot or too dry for growing season. You don't have as much opportunity to break down rocks and get moss and develop dirt. And then the other thing is, if we could see the mountains here, we're closer to the mountains here than the Willamette, and so there's always a source of all these rocks coming in. At least that's my guess about it, but at the very least, I mean, that is at least obvious that this beach is less developed as far as the topsoil and get it turning rock into dirt than one you see in the Pacific Northwest. In Skalkaho Bend Park in Hamilton, I talked about how the park had planted plants for the root systems to avoid erosion, because as the creek changes course, it can bring down trees, and you can see bank erosion there. Same thing is going on here, and here it's just being treated as a natural part of the stream, and it is. Well, it looks like here, this little island is coming to an end. So I'm just going to walk back this way to the parking lot. And this isn't the most spectacular place in Montana, obviously. And just a couple miles north of here in Stevensville, there's actually the Lee Metcalf National Wildlife Refuge, which has, more natural river access, and it's a wildlife refuge. And then other places along the Bitterroot, there's more like official parks. And this is just a place you can turn in. But still, I can spend an afternoon here. There's a lot to see just in this little patch of rocks. Also, interestingly, I used to come to Tucker Crossing semi-regularly. A lot of times when I didn't want to go on an ambitious trip, but I just didn't want to stay around home. It's about 11 miles from my house, so a pretty quick bicycle ride. This is the first time actually I think I came up on the island. I would usually just bicycle here as kind of like an endpoint, see the river, then turn around. So this island is interesting. 4 cars in the parking lot. For Montana, that's pretty busy. And I've said this before, and it's still true. Montana has a lot of places to see, and even the places without a name. This is just a turn off on the highway, still compared to like what would be scenic sites in other places. And today I came here because it's still smoky and hot enough. I didn't want to ride up into the mountains. And so this is a flat ride along that bike path. So I kind of wanted something less challenging today. We went to Lost Horse on Wednesday, drove there. So that's the reason for today. But, all of these places are little hidden gems. And time to go back home. 11 miles bicycle ride back home along the highway. So one last note about that is, I said this was a busy crossing. Hamilton is a commuter town now in a way. People coming and going to Missoula, and also people coming and going from Victor to Hamilton, all of that. So you can see this is a pretty busy road. And as more people have moved here, either building houses in the towns or up in the hills, you get an intersection like this that used to be just fine. And this is starting to get busy enough. You can see the amount of cars that have passed. And that's what happened. This used to be a 2-lane road. Now it's a 4-lane road. That's why the entire Woodside Crossing went in. And at some point, who knows when, a road like this, will have to probably have at least a flashing yellow traffic light and probably have to be redesigned. And that actually takes a fair amount of money. And if enough places do that, then the commute becomes long, and so you get really a tragedy of commons or categorical imperative situation where people move here because they like the country living and don't like traffic, and of course they become the traffic. And most people here would be resistant to the idea of living in a town instead of living in the country, but that's complicated. But at a certain point you can't have your cake and eat it too. And that's a pretty involved policy question, and I just wanted to show the river, so I'm going home now. Probably won't make any more updates.